Good day. I'm hoping all of you are having an awesome afternoon today from wherever you are watching. It's Ann Perry, and today I felt inspired to share a story with you that I wrote about 10, no, I guess it'd be about 8 years ago, but the message is still the same. Sometimes life throws challenges at us, and sometimes we just have to feel the fear and do it anyways. Just step into what is causing us a little bit of anxiety. And we feel so good when we accomplish whatever it is we're setting ourselves up to accomplish. So I was reminded for some reason today, I was inspired by a story that like I say, I had written about 8 years ago, and it's called Lunch with the Seagulls. It's a bit of a tribute to my mom, who was the extreme animal lover. And as many of you know, I've got a real thing for birds. I really do. I don't know. I just have a real thing for birds, especially the wild birds. We have a lot of seagulls and herons and eagles out in our back. So I really enjoy watching them. And quite often I'll receive some really interesting messages from them. So I just wanted to read this little ditty to you, and hopefully that you'll be inspired by it as well. So the story is set in July of 2010. So recently, while on vacation in Ontario, I had the opportunity to have lunch with a flock of seagulls. I'm sure by now you're asking the obvious, why did you have to travel all the way to Ontario to see seagulls, and why on earth would you want to have lunch with them? Well, July 2010, the sun is a wonderful treat, especially for someone like me who really needs the sun. But the temperature has risen to above 50 degrees Celsius on my mom's deck. So the most normal people would seek refuge in the house with the comfort of air conditioning. Hey, Mary Lynn. But normal does not exactly describe my mom or her lifestyle. You see, my mom is from Jamaica, and where she is accustomed to the hot weather. So she doesn't use air conditioning there. So why on earth would she ever consider using air conditioning in Ontario? It's never going to happen. Meanwhile, I'm feeling akin to the Wicked Witch of the West as she's crying out, "I'm melting." That was me, a pile of sweaty clothes stuck to the deck and unable to move. I was paralyzed by the heat. As much as I love it, oh my God, it was hot. I know. Let's go for a drive. Let's get some cooler conditions going on here, shall we? Now there's a really good idea. So mom suggests that we go into town for lunch, just us girls, reconnect, mother and daughter, day out. I'm all over that idea. I think that'd be awesome. So I pull myself away from the outdoor sauna, and I enjoy the prospects of an air-conditioned ride into town. Thank God help is on the way. The only monument to my late father's death is his 2001 fully loaded Mazda Protege. Hey, Mandy. And it is entombed in my mom's garage at this point. So this was my dad's baby. Okay. He worshiped this car more than anything. I carefully unveil the tribute car and from the garage, and I proceed to run it in the driveway for a little bit while mom gets ready to get inside. You guessed it. Air conditioning on, full bore, all vents open, sparing nothing, right? Because it is freaking hot. So mom is busy telling me about this great place to eat just by the Canadian Tire in town. And I go, oh, okay, excellent. That sounds great. So then she starts with, why do you have the air conditioning on? And I'm like, she says, don't you know that it eats up twice the gas when you drive with the air conditioning on? Do you not know that? I mean, we've got to be conservative here, right? That was always my mom, very conservative. Hey, Lisa. So I said, Mom, I'm buying the gas. And at the same time, I'm probably saving my life, okay? And a few brain cells that are frying from a certain death. Kind of a quiet ride to the restaurant. So I pull into the parking lot by the Canadian Tire, and Mom says, pull in just over there. Over where? Over there. It's okay, just pull in over there. Where? Over there, by the trailer in the parking lot. Biting my tongue, I parked the monument beside the hot dog trailer in the Canadian Tire parking lot. Now, she's pleased to tell me that not only do they have the best hot dogs in town, hey, Suzanne, hey, Kim, they have the best place to share them with the seagulls. Wow. Who knew? Not only was I going to go to a trailer in a parking lot for my lunch, but now I was going to have to share my lunch with a freaking seagull. Okay, so now picture this, if you will. It's 50 degrees on her deck. Just imagine how hot it was sitting on the curb of a 3-acre asphalt parking lot. Hot dogs all dressed. We proceed to find a curb to sit on so that we can, you guessed it, feed our lunch to the seagulls. Mom even bought an extra hot dog for the seagulls. Of course she would. I think I'm crazy. It's not, the apple doesn't fall far from that tree. But there's no greater animal lover in the world than my mom. I'm a close second, but she truly takes the cake in this department. She honors every living thing in her world: spiders, flies, hornets, anything that's creepy crawly, doesn't matter. Live and let live has always been her motto. She's the most amazing animal communicator ever. Hey, Donna. I've ever known. So this wasn't exactly my idea of a mother-daughter luncheon, but it soon turned out to be really quite entertaining, actually. It didn't take long before every Jonathan Livingston Seagull came for a shot at getting some of our gourmet hot dogs. So we sat on the curb, melting, tossing out little bits of hot dogs to these guys. And I was really amazed at the pecking order that existed among these critters. Only the strong will survive. And for the record, seagulls don't like pickles. Just putting that out there, just in case you want to share your lunch, don't throw the pickles, it's waste, because they won't eat them. There was such a level of determination as they went after these hot dogs. No crumb was too small. The native people described the seagulls as opportunistic. Now that's an understatement. I surely saw an example of being an opportunist there. So a week or so later, I found myself at an intersection in our local industrial park, the Burnside Industrial Park. It was about 5 o'clock and traffic was at an all-time high. Nonetheless, someone had taken the time to toss out a chicken McNugget out into the intersection. And I had the opportunity to watch as this one seagull dive bombed the intersection with every bit of determination that he could muster. Seconds existed between cars, and he took every opportunity to try and achieve his prize of the squashed morsel, because it had been run over a couple of times. He didn't care. Nothing would stop his efforts. He had a goal, and he was going after it. He had no time to consider, how dangerous is this going to be? Am I really taking a big chance here? What's going on? What if I fail? What if I get injured? What if it doesn't work out? What if I don't make it? What if I die? He likely felt the fear, but he did it anyways. So he saw an opportunity and he wasn't going to miss it. He just went for it. So I took time to consider what a fabulous example these beautiful birds set for us every single day. And man, do I see it in my backyard now that I live on the ocean, I want to tell you. It's really, really kind of entertaining. Anytime an animal causes me to watch them for no apparent reason, it usually brings me cause to look up its spiritual meaning. And I've come to learn that seagulls are spiritual messengers that demonstrate a higher communication with our spirit guides. Seagulls show us how to see things from different perspectives and offer clarity to problems that we might be dealing with. They ask us to question if we're going with the flow in our lives or are we resisting it? Are we taking the necessary chances or are we stepping back from them? Sharing my lunch with the seagulls was just the beginning of my journey into a greater understanding. Sometimes it takes lunch at curbside with a mom to show you the subtle lessons that the animals can teach us. I was reminded of a time when I watched a seagull drop a mussel from about 200 feet to the rocky shore. He did it over and over and over again. He must have done this likely 15 times until it finally opened up for him to eat. He never gave up. He just kept going for it. He kept pursuing his goal until he achieved it. So what can you learn from the seagulls? What part of your life needs a bit of clarification? How patient are you willing to be before you can achieve your goals? I invite you to share your lunch with a seagull because you'll really be glad that you did. Spending time with animals of any kind out in nature can always teach us something. When dragonflies, this time of year in particular, when dragonflies are landing on us, we find out that dragonflies are telling us that things are not, hey, Shirley Castonguay. I love you too, Suzanne. I love seagulls, you know that. But anytime I see a dragonfly that's landing on me, I recognize that I'm being reminded that things are not always as they seem. Years ago, my dad was dying, and I didn't really appreciate the way my mom was taking care of him. They were up in Ontario. I was down here in Nova Scotia. So it was quite a distance. So I was feeling a lot of guilt, and I wasn't feeling really happy with the way that she was handling him. They had a bit of a challenging relationship anyway. So she was keeping it real. She wasn't trying to be anybody that she wasn't, but it was challenging for me to sit back and watch it. Anyway, so I guess I was pretty judgmental towards her. And my son and I went to the Buskers about this time of year, and we were on the ferry, and I was sitting down beside this guy, this American tourist, and we struck up a conversation. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what, this guy, there's just something about this guy that I feel like I have to sit back and listen to every word. I have to be sort of almost like in an altered state, if you will. I'm going to hang on his every word. And so I listened to him, and he didn't really say anything too profound. And eventually we just bid our farewells, and off he went. So my son and I went, we watched all the busker activities and stuff. And then we were on the very last act. My son said, we just got to watch these guys because they're really good, Mom. We got to watch them, right? All right, fine, last one. So we're standing there and we're watching these guys, and there were two guys. They're chasing around each other, and they were doing their act and whatnot. I don't remember exactly what the act was all about, but my son handed me his camera. He said, Mom, you're much taller than me. Would you mind taking my picture? Now, my son would have been about 10 years old at this time. He said, would you mind taking the picture of the guys, the buskers there? I said, yeah, sure. He hands me the camera, and then he gives me the long lecture. Oh, my God. Mom, make sure your hand is through the little hand strap thing. Don't drop it. For God's sakes, don't drop it. Papa left me this camera, and it means the world to me, so please take good care of it. I'm on it, Les. I'm on it. Okay, it's good. So we took the camera, put it up like this, and I'm waiting to take the guy's picture. Well, he runs at me and he goes, you want my picture? I'll take my picture. And he grabs the camera out of my hand. Now, Les, of course, is having a conniption fit. He's like 16 feet in the air. He's really upset because this guy's got his camera. And he starts chasing his friend around, and he's doing his thing. Meanwhile, the first time ever I got an angelic message, an outside voice, not inside my head. It was coming from somewhere, right? But I was hearing it, right? And the voice kept saying, Anne, things are not always as they seem. Things are not always as they seem. I'm like, would you shut up? Like, seriously, I waited my entire life to connect with you guys, and you're choosing now? Now, can you put it in a sticky memo, and maybe you can get back to me on this? Because right now I'm in a bit of a crisis, okay? I'll get back to you. So, I keep hearing this voice. Anyway, buddy's running around, he's chasing the guy, and he's doing this, and he takes the camera, and he yells to his buddy, he says, here, catch, right? The camera hits the ground, smashes in a million pieces. My little guy, 10 years old, bawling hysterically at this point, right? I've got my head in my hands, and I'm looking at these guys, and all I could say was, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And inside my head, I'm thinking, oh, the whole crowd must think I'm really materialistic. I mean, it's a camera, it can be replaced, but nobody knew what that camera meant to that little boy, right? Nobody knew. And this guy's looking at me like he's completely destroyed. He's completely shocked because this has never happened according to him. He said, we do this all the time, ma'am. I'm really sorry. And you could have heard a pin drop. Everybody's totally silent. Huge crowd around. They're all looking at us. And they're all looking at the guys, and they're saying, somebody yells out, hey, you know what? You might want to reach into your pocket, and you might want to get some cash for this young fella to maybe help him out with buying a new camera. That might be a good idea. Anyway, buddy comes over. Hey, Donna Marie. Buddy comes over and, hey, Angela. And he reaches into his pocket to give me the money. When he reaches into his pocket to give me the money, he hands over the camera. Didn't see that coming. Totally intact, right? Nothing wrong with it. My son is like laughing, crying, laughing, crying. I'm trying to piece him together. I take the guy and I'm shaking him by the shoulders. I'm like, you have no idea how not funny that was. Right? I'm just like, relieved, happy, sad, cranky, whatever. So I turn around, and as I'm walking away, I realized it was just like that. It came to me. The message, I knew I'd had this spiritual encounter, right? And the message, things are not always as they seem, came to me. And it was like, okay, I get it. I'm judging my mother. I have not walked in her shoes. My dad was not an easy man to live with, right? And I've not walked in her shoes. So I can't judge her for how she's handling him. And I got to kind of smarten up. Anyway, shortly after that, I went for a ride on my horse. And while my dad was dying, I would spend a lot of time on my horse contemplating everything. And I would do a lot of prayers and meditation and whatnot. We walked up to the top of a place called Soldier Lake. And I sat there, and this massive, I'm talking sparrow size, like huge dragonfly landed right there on my heart. Sat there for the longest time. And I started channeling Reiki to it, and he's stretching. And did you know that dragonflies can yawn? They do. He's like, he's letting out this big, huge, he's stretching like this. I'm thinking, man, this is like magical. Anyway, I should have backed up the story a little bit, because there's another thing that happened prior to that. As I went down the road, I let my horse, before the whole dragonfly thing happened, I let my horse decide which way we would go, whether we would go to the right or go to the left. This morning, he decided to go to the right. As we turned to the right, we saw a group of deer down by the waterfall eating. Really magical moment, right? And I thought, wow, that's amazing. Thank you, Great Spirit, for showing me that. And then we proceeded on up, and we had this little dragonfly experience. The following week, I went through the same thing, gave him the choice which way we were going to go, left or right. This time he decided he was going to go left. So we went left, and sure enough, this little tiny gray mouse ran underneath my horse. I'm like, what, you got a death wish? Like, it's probably not going to end well if you keep drawing this. Anyway, went up a little bit further, there's the same deer. And they're all lining up on across the road, showing me this. And I'm like in this altered state of reality. And sure enough, the dragonfly comes out, lands on my heart, and sits there for the length of my ride. And then a couple months after that, my dad has now passed. Okay, a couple months after that, one of my Reiki clients, brings me a little plant stake for my garden. It's got a dragonfly on it. Thank you very much. Very nice, right? And then shortly after that, somebody brings me a pin. This is a dragonfly. Thank you very much. That's really nice, right? And then somebody else calls me in the middle of the night and says, oh my God, I have to come and see you right away. I have something I have to bring you. I'm like, okay. It's one of my students, right? So she comes to my house and she brings me this box and she said, I don't know why I have to bring this to you, but I know that I have to bring it to you. And I bought it. I don't like it, but it's meant for you. It was intended for you. I'm like, okay. So I open it up. You guessed it. There's another dragonfly. I'm like, what the hell? What's with the dragonflies, right? What does this mean? And so right then and there, I was in my Reiki room. I pulled up my book on animal speak and went into it. And the first words in the description were, dragonfly means things are not always as they seem. It took me about 18 months to get the message, okay? My dad's already crossed. I'm still pissed off at my mother. I'm still judging her fiercely for the way she behaved. And meanwhile, my dad is sending messages through dragonflies to let me know, you know what, stop judging her. Stop doing this. Things are not always as they seem. You need to see things from a different perspective. So I hope that when you see a dragonfly, that you won't swat it away, that you'll really value it. And if it lands on you, I'm telling you what, there's a big message in that and you need to connect to it. It's really important. To me, it was just an amazingly spiritual message, and I have them all over my place now. A lot of people know I'm very fond of dragonflies and the messages that they deliver. So when you see them, you need to ask yourself, what is it that I need to look at a little differently? What have I been judging? Who have I been judging? Have I been hard on myself? Am I hard on someone else? What's going on, right? So I just encourage you to really listen to the message, not just from the dragonflies, not just from the seagulls, but any form of nature that seems to be kind of in your face in an unexpected kind of way. Maybe you can look at it a little bit differently, because it's really magical what they can teach you. So that's it for today. I don't know if anybody's got any questions or anything. I'm going to put my reading glasses on to see. Okay, Donna Marie says, good message. After my brother passed on, we had a seagull visit like never before. He stayed on the roof watching his whole family enjoy his celebration of life at my house. Never before and never again has this happened. Reminds me of a story too. We just knew it was him for the whole afternoon. That's amazing, Donna Marie. Thanks for sharing that. That is awesome. That is really amazing. Angie Gomez Labe says, hi from New York. Oh my God, the number 8 was just reading my message right before I tuned into Facebook and you pop up with this. That's awesome. So my mom's birthday was last week. And so I sent a message out to her and I said, hey mom, really like to get, some kind of a sign that you're around kind of thing, right? Nothing. All day long. I'm out in the garden. I'm talking to her. As everybody knows, I got my legacy garden to my mom, and I planted a bunch of lilies in her memory and such, and nothing, right? Okay, she's going to be a little quiet now. That's okay. The next morning, that would have been August the 12th, I woke up, went into the washroom, looked out the window, and there were 19 Canada geese in my backyard. 19 Canada geese. You know how much poop that produces? That's a lot of poop, right? I knew that was coming from my mom, because when she lived in Ontario, the same place we had our seagull lunch, there were hundreds and hundreds of Canadian geese, and I just love to go and watch them. I love to go and see them, and she knew that, right? She knew that I would like to go for my little nature walks, and I go down and I'd feed the geese and stuff. So the thing you got to know, I live on the water, I live out in the ocean, and we have Canadian geese around, but they've never been in my backyard before, ever. I see this year, actually, we were just talking about it. There's not many of them around. They were just kind of floating around. 6 of them, like a small family, out back, saw them once. Now, years ago, we'd see quite a few of them. This year, nothing, right? But when I asked for the sign, that's the sign. And my mother always went big or stay home, right? It was always like, make sure she knows I'm around. I'm going to send a big ass message that she gets it, right? Because I'm a little simple sometimes. So you know what? If you want to know if your loved ones are around, put it out there and just ask them, hey, send me a message. But don't expect it to be in the way you expect it to be. Okay, I would never have expected 19 pooping geese in my backyard doing a parade. And they stayed with me for about a half an hour. And you know what? When I thanked my mom, when I acknowledged my mom, and I told her how happy I was bawling when I was watching this and getting emotional talking about it. Our property kind of goes out and there's this big rock wall, right? And a few years ago, we watched the Canadian geese teach their babies how to fly off of our wall, right? My mom is still alive and whatnot during that, but she would have loved to see it. But the geese on this Sunday last week, all at the same time, jumped off our rock wall and went into like a fly pass, right? They all went on their sides like that. It was like I don't know, an Air Force fly pass, and they all went meow like that over the house. It was like, oh my God, does it get any better? So, as I said, guys, you know what? If you really want to make a connection with your loved ones, put it out there. Ask for the connection, but be open to what they might send you. They might send you a lot of goose poop. So, deal with it. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for entertaining me. I just felt inspired to share that with you. I don't know if it's touched anybody in a special way, but Spirit was saying, dig this one out of the vault. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm hoping you're having a great day. And we'll connect soon on the next one. Take care, guys. Love you. Bye for now.